it has its ups and downs, and you can talk the client through that as much as you want, but until they're actually in it, um, they don't fully understand it until they're going through the motions of it all. So
For sure.
yeah, very exciting to be talking to you about that today.
Okay.
So you know what? Why don't we, now that we've gotten all of our technical stuff out of the way, why don't we do a jump in?
Sure.
You
Sounds
okay
good.
with that? Okay.
Yeah.
So, hi everybody, it's Aliza Blair, your real estate angel here. And today I am with Jason Correia, and we're going to feature him on our parkbench.com Wasaga Beach website. Jason, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm really looking forward to this, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. So Jason, let's jump in. Can you tell us a little bit about your business and what it is and what you do?
Sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Jason Correia, and I go by the Gut Coach, and I help individuals who are struggling with gut pain, specifically challenges around Crohn's, colitis, irritable bowel syndrome, irritable bowel disease, and I help them overcome that so that they can be the person that they want to be. That's really at a high level what it is I do, and the part that we focus on is the mental aspect, the mindset aspect, and how at an unconscious level there's a lot going on there that leads to us having this gut pain. So when we dive into that and we work with individuals and they get a better understanding of that, then they can transform it and then they can overcome it. So that's what we do, and that's my passion, because I've gone through it and it's been a 20-year journey for me, and I want to make sure that other people don't have to go through it as long as they need to. We want to shorten that and get them back into health as quickly as possible.
Wow, Jason, that is truly phenomenal. So I've often heard, and I think what you're describing, I've often heard the stomach is like the second brain in our body. Would you agree with that?
That is 100% correct. They call it the small brain. So it's part of the enteric nervous system. So there's actually neurons in our stomach that connect and speak to our mind and vice versa. So when we have chaos in our mind, that chaos then gets transferred down into our gut, and then we start to get the gut pain. And that's really a sign to us to say, hey, we need to stop and look at that and what is causing that, so that we can resolve that conflict that's there and get back into a balanced state of mind.
Wow. So you also shared that you've gone through a 20-year journey and how this has now become your passion and how you want to help other people um, you know, resolve this and maybe catch it sooner than later. And they may not even realize that these issues are connected to some of the stressors that they're having in their lives. Can you describe a little bit of your journey?
For sure. So I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease at the age of 18. I was in first year university at the time, and it was 5 months of agony. I started to get gut pain. I went to my GP, and they basically prescribed me um, antacids at first. They were like, "Oh, it's just you're having some stomach stuff. Here's some antacids. Come see me in 2 weeks." And
Right.
came back in 2 weeks, and I was like, nothing's resolved. So it just started a cycle of seeing different specialists, trying to figure out and rule things out. Wait lists of like months and months to see specialists. So it was about 5 months till I was diagnosed with the Crohn's disease. And during that time, I had like no energy. I was frustrated. I was angry. Like there's tons of emotions going on. And finally, when I did get some answers that helped with my journey of healing, um, and it was an awakening for me, because I was very type A. Everything had to be a specific way. it had to go as planned. And if it didn't go as planned, like things were not, I would not like that. And it really taught me to slow down and look at life in a different perspective. And I think that really helped me get back to health quickly. I changed my diet. I started to move my body more. Those were things that I had gotten away from getting into university, and they helped. And yet, a year later, I relapsed. So I had a flare up. I had to change medication. I had to go on steroids to get things back into play. And I think at that time I realized that I hadn't changed the situation that was causing the gut pain. And that was, I was in university and I was taking economics, and I absolutely hated the university. I hated the course. It was not aligned to my passions, and I was just doing what I thought I needed to do. And once I got myself out of that, then I had more stability in terms of my health. And I'm a curious guy. I was like, what's behind this? Like, they talk about nutrition. It's a super important part of it. And yet our medical system doesn't really talk about the mental aspect of things.
No.
And it's a huge part. It's a huge part how we react to things. You look at individuals that get diagnosed with something, and some of them are able to overcome it and some of them are not. And I think a big part of that is, do you accept it as for what it is, or do you reject it and say, no, that's not going to be me. I'm going to overcome this, and have that mental strength to do that. And so over the last 15 years, I'm always looking for ways to improve my health, improve my mindset, improve my gut. And then about 3 years ago, I found some incredible tools out of chance, because I was in corporate at the time and not enjoying what I was doing. And I was going into another cycle, doing the same thing, doing things that weren't aligned to my passion. So I took a whole bunch of courses and about mindset, and specifically the unconscious mind, which is 95% of our brain power, is all at an unconscious level. And I was just blown away by the tools. I was like, why didn't I know about this 20 years ago?
Right.
And that just set a chain of events into play, where I moved where I was living. I changed what I was doing from a corporate perspective. And I said, I can't not share this with other people and make an impact in their life. So I left the corporate, and I started to do coaching and helping individuals who are suffering with disease, specifically the gut, because that's what I went through, and helping them overcome it as quickly as possible.
That's fantastic. What an amazing journey. I hear a lot of resilience in there. And I also hear, not just accepting the status quo, because I think a lot of us are so used to that, right? Like we get prescribed, and then we accept that as truth, and we don't really look any deeper than that when the issues are still there beneath the surface.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
How?
We call it the hypnosis of the diagnosis.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. You see someone in a white coat that is a individual of authority, and that goes right into our unconscious mind, because we're getting information from someone who we deem a credible authority on something.
Right.
And so that's the challenge there, is we're getting these disempowering messages from our healthcare practitioners, and that for some people goes right in, and they accept it, and they hear it as truth.
Right. Wow. And I think that's true for a lot of people.
Yeah.
What tools did you use other than, the what I call external tools, like moving your body and changing your diet? What internal tools did you use to shift yourself emotionally and mentally?
So I started off with like early on in the situation, I started off with mindfulness and meditation, and that really helped. And as I progressed through and did some research, the one thing that really uh, became very interesting to me was hypnotherapy. So that's one of the modalities that I've been trained in. Um, and it's really about making changes at an unconscious level. Like we can do something consciously, and I'm sure you've heard we have to do something 10,000 times for it to be a habit. And that's because we're consciously doing it until it becomes unconscious and we can automatically do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know about you, but I don't really want to do something 10,000 times for it to stick. So it's like how I'm a process improvement guy. I want to skip some steps and get to results quicker. So I'm like, how can we do this? So I came across hypnotherapy, and I mean, it's been around since I think documented at least the 1400s,
Right.
starting in Eastern Asia and that type of thing. And it's an incredible tool to make changes at that unconscious level. We're in a state of trance for the first 7 years of our life, and that's how we learn everything that we learn. We learn our beliefs, our behaviors, our habits. We all pick it up by the time we're at age of 7.
Right.
Even how we make decisions on buying something, like this is specifically for you from a realtor perspective, we learn that before the age of 7, and that stays with us. And it's the same strategy for a pack of gum, and the same strategy to buy a house. Like you got to go through the specific steps at an unconscious level for you to say, okay, I'm ready to do this.
Right.
And with hypnotherapy, we can change all of these things very quickly. And there's a ton of research, even specifically with the gut, where over 80% of people can reduce their symptoms, in a very short period of time using hypnotherapy. So right now, that's one of the modalities that I use with my clients, and what I use with myself is hypnotherapy, and the other one is neuro-linguistic programming, NLP.
I love NLP.
You're familiar with NLP?
I'm familiar with it. I don't, I wouldn't call, I'm an enthusiast in learning more about it, I would say.
Okay.
I was in the fitness industry for many years, and one of the things I learned through that experience was how to incorporate NLP into classes and training programs to help clients, really change the way they thought about their bodies, their results, their motivations for exercise. And that's where I first started to get my hands into it. So
Very
I'm
cool.
a huge fan of NLP.
So what kind of things would you do to incorporate? I'm curious.
So I actually started teaching a class called Intensati, and it was intention, and sati is a Sanskrit word that means mindfulness or awareness. Was created by a woman named Patricia Moreno out of New York more than 30 years ago now. She's like way ahead of her time when it
Wow.
comes to this stuff. And what you did was said positive affirmative phrases while you were doing movement. So your punches, lunges, and kicks were things called courage, confidence, power, brave. And then there were phrases that went along with that. I am strong. I desire it now. Those, and then programming your mind to say those things while you were doing the movement, because as science backs this, there is a visceral reaction in your body when you connect those two things together. And I would incorporate that in almost all of my classes, but this one particular class was just so uplifting. And people sometimes would end up like, at the end of class, like crying on the floor because they've released so much that they've been holding on to in their body. And it's amazing how much we get choked up, like here in our throats,
For sure.
right? And people don't realize, they think fitness is silent. It's not always meant to be silent. Yes, there are ways you can do that, but sometimes just speaking things out loud just brings other things to the surface and allows you to open up a little bit more. And it was a transformative program. So that was one of the ways that, I used NLP in those classes.
That's beautiful. That's amazing. And
Yeah.
it makes total sense to me, because when you're working out, you are in a trance. So you're tapping into your unconscious mind, you're moving your body, you're releasing positive hormones and endorphins, and creating positive emotions. And then you're tying those positive emotions to those affirmations, which then, like, saying something and having emotions attached to it, that's
Right.
how we really solidify and drop something into our mind. So that's beautiful. That's amazing technique. I'm gonna have to look that up, because that's really cool.
Yeah, I'll send you a link actually to one of her classes, and you can take a look at it.
That's
She's
amazing.
really incredible.
Very cool.
So, Jason, how, I guess everybody, there's no cookie cutter solution, obviously, for everyone. How long typically would somebody do a hypnotherapy session with you to address the issues that they're having?
So hypnotherapy is one piece of the toolkit that I use.
Okay.
NLP is an entire set of tools that we use, and it's also a systematic process that we learn as well. So I'm a designated trainer of both of those modalities through the American Board of Hypnotherapy and the American Board of Neurolinguistic Programming. And part of that is a coaching modality where we go through a specific process to uncover those underlying challenges, those underlying conflicts that have been probably dormant for years and years and years. A lot of them, again, go back to our childhood. And we do that. We go through that process, and usually, depending on how quickly the individual wants to see results, usually it's within, I would say, 6 to 10 hours worth of work we go through, and then they start seeing the results. And then depending on what the client's needs are, because like you said, everyone is different. If they want to work with me in terms of follow-ups for 3 months, 6 months, a year, then we obviously do that to ensure that they're moving through things and being successful. There's other aspects too about habits. So if they want to create healthier habits with food and fitness, again, those are all, whether or not we want to do something is all unconscious. So, helping them shift those things. And I'm sure being in the fitness industry, all about that.
Right.
So yeah, I would say within 6 to 8 hours of working with me, there's a huge shift. And within the first couple of hours, just the awareness that comes out of it in terms of what the underlying cause is.
Right.
Because when we know that, we can then do something about it. When we know what the problem is, then we can fix the problem. And I think that's the biggest piece of it, where our medicine system today, our healthcare system, they don't really focus on the cause. Especially with these diseases, they're all considered autoimmune, which means they have no idea what caused it.
Where it comes
That's basically that's everything that gets bucketed into autoimmune means we have no idea.
Right.
And they say, oh, it's part genetic and it's part environmental. Well, what does that mean? and it's really the environment here, right? The
Right.
4 inches between our ears
100%.
is what then creates our environment outside of us. So you shift it up here, you'll shift it outside, and you'll shift it in your body.
Yeah, that's so connected to you know, the class I mentioned, Intensati, Patricia always says, what you think about, you bring about. You know, good or bad, what you think about, you bring about. So it'll show up externally somewhere in your world. You may not even be aware that you're doing it, but you're doing it. And then all of a sudden there it is. And people are like, well, where did that come from?
Yeah,
Well, it all
exactly.
started here, and then, you know, finds its way to manifest itself, right?
For sure it does. Yeah.
Can you
Because it,
share a client success story?
yes. So, I mean, oh, to pick one. I mean, in general speaking, because I mean, the results are similar in a lot of the cases. We're able to help individuals really reduce the symptoms. So the gut pain is obviously a symptom of something bigger, and when we're able to uncover that and transform it and resolve it, a lot of those symptoms disappear. So most individuals see a quick change in that. I would say within a week or two, the symptoms of in terms of the intensity and the pain itself are significantly reduced.
Okay.
And with some individuals, they're able to reduce the use of medication. So like either reducing it with, of course, consultation with their gastroenterologist, because we want to work with the system. It's not an alternative. We want to work together. And in some cases, individuals have gone off their medication.
Hmm.
So it's really impactful to be able to do that, you know, and they're just so grateful for the change. And a lot of them always say, like, why didn't I find you, like, you know, years ago? Because that's how I felt. I'm like, where was this 20 years ago for me? I mean, I would have jumped at it and said, hey, like, let's do it and let's get it resolved quickly. So yeah, that's what I would say about that. And I mean, even personally, I've been medication free for 3 years now.
Amazing.
Completely symptom free, like everything is like amazing. So it's like I never had it.
Wow. So yeah, you know, when you do the shift internally, it's amazing what else can happen, right? Now,
Exactly.
can you tell for yourself, and you probably can, but can you tell for yourself when there are things that could potentially trigger a flare up? Like, can you feel that change?
For sure. And that's one of the interesting things about your gut. If you think about your normal day to day, if you're a completely perfectly healthy individual, you don't really get any sensation from your gut normally.
Right.
The only times you do is when you're hungry, or you know something's not sitting right with you, as a form of you being aware. It's how your gut makes you aware of something that you need to be aware of. And that's
Mhm.
how I look at the pain as well. So when you do start to feel that, you kind of have to ask yourself, what is it that I need to focus on right now? What is the message that my gut is trying to send to me? A lot of times it's metaphoric. So it's like, what is it that I'm not trusting? What am I not trusting my gut? It's usually when we're in a situation where we're on the fence about making a decision and we don't know how to handle that situation, and we stay in that position, in that state, which is not a comfortable state. It's a state of stress and anxiety, and those are all bad things for your gut,
Right.
because your gut can't your gut your mind takes the resources away from your gut because it thinks it's in fight or flight mode. And
Right.
so if you're in that for a long period of time, that's when, you know, your gut microbiome starts to degrade, and you start to get all of these situations, and that's what manifests the pain. So I'm very aware of it now. Like It's something, if I'm in a situation and I'm hesitating and I start to feel the pain, it's like, okay, trust your gut. What's
Trust
the
your gut.
instinct? Trust your gut. Yeah.
Wow. So that phrase really is it's a true thing, trusting your gut.
And it comes back to it being the second brain. There's
Right.
there's there's things outside of our awareness, because we can only focus on how much we can focus on, which is like one thing at a time. So it's bringing awareness to a situation. Like it's that's where it comes from. Like, trust your
Right.
gut. You got to trust that instinct, and it's there for a reason. It's there to guide you to doing something, or to putting you on the right path.
Right. So if anyone, for all of our viewers right now watching and listening to this, if there's anything you learned in the last 30 seconds, it's to really trust your gut. Like you could just start there, right?
For sure.
For any situation. Now, have you, you said you made a change from corporate to to your business now 3 years ago.
Yes.
Have you always lived in Collingwood, or did that change as well?
I grew up in Etobicoke.
Okay.
So I was born in Etobicoke. I was there for, with my parents for the longest time. And when I moved out to Mississauga.
Okay.
And then after that, my girlfriend and I, we moved to Milton. So we were in Milton for a couple of years, and then we both went through these trainings. So she's also a trained hypnotherapist and NLP trainer as well. And her focus is on concussion, which is really cool. And so when we went through all these trainings together, we said, we're going to live where we want to live. And so we decided to move to Wasaga Beach. So we actually live in Wasaga Beach. And we
Amazing.
we made the move in November of 2018.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And what's your experience been so far being up here?
Oh, we both absolutely love it. We both came up here a lot when we were kids, so we were familiar with the area. My parents had a cottage off Beechwood for the longest time, so we would come up here all the time and absolutely loved it. And we were looking for the work-life balance and being in nature and being outdoors. That was really important to us. So, being 5 minutes from the beach and 20 minutes from the hill, it was very appealing. So we love it so far.
Fantastic. And are you avid winter sports fans as much as you are summer beach sports fans?
I love to ski. So definitely taking advantage of that. It opened yesterday, so I haven't gone yet, but looking forward to taking advantage of that. And just enjoying the weather. There's lots of snow for sure.
But it's so pretty.
It is.
I grew up in Winnipeg, and I honestly hated winter. Like that was my least favorite season growing up. I was also born in Kenya, so you can imagine going from Kenya to Winnipeg.
Oh wow.
Minus, plus 30 to minus 30. It's a big difference. But being up here is very different. The temperature is milder, and I do have a new appreciation for winter activities. I was so sad when I moved up here that all the hills were closed, because I'm not a skier, but I wanted to at least attempt a bunny hills. So maybe I'll still get the chance before all the snow is gone.
For sure. Did you just recently move up to the area?
Yeah, I actually moved up here just before Christmas,
Okay.
about a week and a half before the holidays. I'd been coming up here for about a year and a half, and totally fell in love with it. Everything about it. I would drive up Highway 26 from Brampton, And it was such a beautiful drive. And the only place water-wise that I'd ever been to other than coming up north was going to the Niagara region, which is also beautiful.
Yeah.
But I love not being able to not having to deal with the QEW, you know?
I definitely don't miss any of the highways, that's for sure.
I
It's
don't.
beautiful.
Yeah,
I
and I'm still transitioning. I still have a lot of business in the GTA, but when I'm coming home, I am just so relieved and so happy to be up here. It's such a different pace and a different perspective on living and having that work-life balance.
for sure.
I absolutely love it. And, would you say for you, for your business, especially in the time that we're in now, everything we do is very remote, right?
Yeah.
Like you and I are talking through video right now. Do you find that you're helping a lot of your clients remotely and that they're coming from many different areas, or are you focusing hyper locally on where you live?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, this whole pandemic has definitely, forced all of us to be more digital and be more virtual. And I think that's helped me in the sense of being able to get out there more and connecting with individuals outside of the region, and having clients in different parts of the of the country, and in the States and that type of thing. So it's actually helped because it's made us more comfortable with it, and clients are more comfortable with it because it's just the way of living now. So
Right.
it's been beneficial. I still have a office in Collingwood. Obviously not seeing anybody in person.
Yeah.
So everything's virtual now, which is it's just as effective. We can do everything we need to do, and I mean, people can show up in their pajamas, so
That's right.
that's the that's the added benefit.
Exactly. And how do people find you, Jason? What's the best way for people to reach out to you, connect to you if they're needing, especially if they're needing help with, some of the ailments that you've described and what they're going through?
For sure. So my website, Jason Correia, CORREIA.com. They can also find me on Instagram. I provide a lot of information there as well. My tag is Jason L. Correia, CORREIA. So they can follow me on there. And I also have a Facebook business page as well. So if they type in Jason Correia, it'll come up as well.
Fantastic. And I'll be sharing this also on all my platforms as well, so that there'll be lots of opportunity for people to connect with you.
Awesome.
Now I know that you work with clients that are dealing with gut issues. Um, who is that your ideal client? Can you expand on that, or is that what you really love to specialize in because of your personal experience?
Yeah, I've worked with individuals with other situations, other ailments. I just found that I was getting a lot of individuals with this. They were magnetizing because of my story and my situation. So I've I've branded myself as that. I do I do help other individuals with other health related challenges. That's really what my passion is to help people with health specific issues. So if there's other certain things that people are dealing with challenge wise, it's the process is the same. So I look at myself as a tour guide, and we're navigating that individual's unconscious mind to see what we can pull out, see what situations are there that we need to resolve, and that's where the change comes from. So it's all the same process, whether it be the gut or some other type of ailment.
Okay, fantastic. Wow. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today, and given our viewers a lot to ponder over, obviously to consider, and especially if they're going through any gut health issues, think about reaching out to you first, and or in addition to, whatever their regular practitioner is doing. But I wholeheartedly stand behind everything that you're doing. I've always believed that our issues live in our tissues, and you're just addressing, one of those areas now, which I think is phenomenal. How have you seen an increase in these types of issues over the last year while we've been going through the pandemic?
For sure. I think anytime there's an increase in uncertainty, anytime you see an increase in people with anxiety, this whole pandemic is creating a lot of that. So unfortunately, yes, we're seeing more of this. If you look at data from like the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation as well of Canada, for whatever reason, Canada is one of the highest per capita of this type of thing. So I'm not sure if it's a cultural thing where we don't speak up and make decisions quickly, or we just don't have the infrastructure to help these kind of individuals. Unfortunately, it's on the rise. So I'm doing my best to get the word out there that there are things that people can do, and this isn't a life sentence. This is just a bump in the road.
That's amazing. I really love that. Yeah. And it's what you're saying is that they don't have to live with it forever, and that there's a permanent solution that you can offer.
For sure. And
That
if
involves no medication.
exactly.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And it's an empowerment thing. It's if they believe that they had some part in manifesting what happened to them, then they also need to believe that they have the power to overcome it. So it works both ways.
Both ways.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, Jason, I really want to thank you for the time that you took today to share with us your journey and your business. And I look forward to having more conversations with you like this.
I really love this. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to having some more conversations about this for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and have an amazing day. And to our viewers, thank you for tuning in and watching. And please connect with Jason through all his handles and channels, especially if you're trying to work through something right now and you can't really find the solution. I think Jason has the answer for you. Thank you.
And I do offer complimentary 30-minute gut check consults. So
that's great.
Anyone that is not unsure of this, I want to make sure that I'm a right fit for them and they're a right fit for me. So please feel free to reach out. We can book one of those and see if I'm the right resource for you. And if not, then maybe I can connect you with something else or get you on the journey as well. So that's really where my goal and my intention is.
That's incredible. Thank you, Jason, for mentioning that. And I will definitely make a mention of that as well on the website.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, thank you again. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day and week. And hopefully you'll be on the ski hills soon. You might see me on a bunny slope somewhere.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
I'm just gonna